So in this video, I break it down how President Ruto is beginning to control the narrative in a way that if the opposition is not careful, it will be difficult for them. So you're watching No Lie with Owen. In Kenyan politics, nothing happens by accident. Every move is calculated. President William Ruto knows that 2027 will not be an easy walk. The opposition is reorganizing, with factions led by Gachagua putting themselves on the ground for a better fight in 2027. But President Ruto has begun to control the political narrative. But how? In recent days, we've seen President Ruto hosting people from Meru, Kiambu, Tharaka Nithi, Kisii, and many more are expected. To a level, some people wonder, why is the president doing that? Why is the president using State House for campaigns? But you know what? Politically, that is a strategy. And it's a strategy that is focused on perception. By President Ruto welcoming people from different counties and explain to them what his government is doing, his agenda, or what he's doing per county. That creates a strong political perception that at the end of it will give President Ruto a competitive advantage as we go into 2027 polls. State House is the president's official residence, and it's a house of power. Imagine this. Someone deep there in whichever county, welcome to State House, being talked with the president, taking photos with the president. Do you think at the end of it that such a person will not vote for President Ruto? Do you think such a person will view President Ruto negatively? It will not be the case. So, President Ruto is good at managing perception. And in this case, is controlling that political narrative. He will definitely be considered by especially those who go to State House as a good man. And what does it do politically? It puts him ahead of his competitors.
Kisha at least 2 billion inakuja kwa Meru ndio tuweze kupangia mambo ya maji.
President Ruto is utilizing these State House visits to explain his agenda to the people so candidly, so clearly, in a language they understand. In Meru, he told them what he's doing in the county and what he plans to do. In Tharaka Nithi, he told them what he's doing, especially when it comes to the Nithi Bridge and his future plans. For Kisii people, it was the same. For young people from Nairobi, it was the same. For Kiambu County, it was the same. So in this case, President Ruto is talking to people directly. He's not just on the mic, but facing people directly. That physical closeness is an advantage for President Ruto. And at the same time, he's not just using the mainstream media to communicate this, but he's reaching out to people directly. And this is a strong strategy. Remember this, politics begins from the grassroots, or politics is at grassroots. And the people going to State House are actually grassroots leaders. And these people have influence on the ground. They mobilize, receive resources perhaps from State House or from whichever source, and hit the ground for President Ruto. They will go back to their villages or where they come from to explain the agenda of President Ruto. So this is important politically. And in this case, President Ruto's message is hitting the ground, reaching directly people on the ground. And this is important. So, in other words, the message is reaching the critical mass in different parts of this country. President Ruto is deploying divide and rule strategy, especially in Mount Kenya. I want you to picture it this way. Now, when Kiambu leaders went to State House, they talked of Kiambu seceding from Mount Kenya region so that it is considered an independent region, politically and economically.
We have been Christian, the people of Mount Kenya. Lakini hawa watu wa Kiambu, ile milima wanaona ni Gong Hills na Kilimambogo. Na wamesema wao, they are a region by themselves. Kiambu ni region mzima ikiwa peke yake. Kanatiguo. Tono tukania kaunti ithathatũ na citingikinyira andu aria me thiini wa Kiambu. Na kwa hivyo your excellency, tukija kwa wingi ni sababu tuko wengi, na kura pia tulikopea kwa wingi 2022. Na kwa ile kazi unatufanyia 2027, hawa ndio wataamua. Ama mshaamua? Mshaamua? Mnasemaje? Ati mnasemaje Kiambu?
Mimi nakubaliana na wale unasema Kiambu inatoshana ki-region yenyewe. Nego kana teguo. Si Kiambu ni fire jameni. Ni fire si fire. Ni fire si fire.
Politically, the goal is to counter the one-term narrative, pushed by Gachagua. Economically, it would allow the likes of Ichung'wah and others from the county, to go to State House and ask for development, not as entire Mount Kenya region, but as an independent region. But geographically, will it isolate Kiambu? No. But at the same time, what will people feel? Will people accept this kind of isolation? Because if you're Kikuyu from Central Kenya, you will still remain Kikuyu from Central Kenya, despite this kind of isolation. So politically, it is difficult for this kind of cessation or isolation to succeed, considering that, the people who really oppose that idea, because not all people from Kiambu, and including their leaders, support President Ruto. So the likes of Ichung'wah may push that agenda, but it's unlikely to succeed. But what is clear is President Ruto is deploying divide and rule strategy. Not just about isolating Kiambu, is also pushing a narrative where we have Central Kenya and Mount Kenya East, so that in the event Central Kenya becomes hostile, at least Mount Kenya East can favor him. Because you've seen leaders from Tharaka Nithi and Meru. The only county remaining is perhaps, not actually perhaps, it is Embu. So when we have that kind of isolation, you'll find that President Ruto will be in a position to some level isolate Mount Kenya East from the entire region, so that at the end of it, he gets some votes. And at the same time, remember this, Kindiki hails from Mount Kenya East. So deploying this kind of strategy can really work to President Ruto's advantage.
Mimi nawaomba watu wa Kiambu, mulionisaidia nikawa rais wa Kenya. Nawaomba munikubalie niunganishe Kenya yetu iwe moja. Kenya ikue moja vile neno la Mungu linatufundisha. Kwa sababu tukiungana tuwe kitu kimoja, Mungu atabariki nchi yetu. Munasema tuungane jameni. Tushirikiane. Tufanye kazi kwa pamoja. Tuondoe chuki. Tuondoe ukabila. Tuondoe mambo ya migawanyiko. Tuwe taifa moja. Vile Mungu alitupanga. Tuwe nchi moja. Hebu nione wale wanasema tuwe taifa moja na nchi moja. Harambee. Harambee. Nyinyi ndio mmesema. Ati ni ngapi? Tuendelee kufanya kazi.
Essentially, Ruto wants 2027 to be about his national image, not about regional wars. Focusing on unity, humbly asking that he be allowed to unite the country while scattering opposition forces early, President Ruto is likely to step into the ballot as the undisputed national candidate, forcing Gachagua to play defense. So Ruto is strategically and wisely building a political narrative that, if not countered early, the opposition team will have a slim chance of victory in 2027 presidential polls.
Saa zingine nyinyi mnatishwa, sijui one term, sijui how many terms, sijui nini. That is not my concern. 2027, kwani 2027 itakuwa uchaguzi tofauti kuliko ile yote tumefanya?
Maneno ya siasa bado. Mambo bado. Wale si mnaona kuna watu wengine wanatangatanga hapo? Wanamangamanga hapo. Unajua, wacha niwaeleze. Si tulikuwa na ingine ya Tibim na Tialala. Tuko sasa na one term Kasongo. Tutawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Ogase? Tambiririzo smart. So, msikuwe na wasiwasi. Saa hizi wacha mimi ninyoroshe kazi. Si ndio? Siasa ikianza tutawaonyesha kivumbi. Nyinyi mnanielewa?
In politics, power is never given. It is taken, protected, and defended. President Ruto understands this truth better than anyone. By using State House to create perception of closeness to power for attendees, deploying divide and rule strategy to weakening the opposition, fragment their unity, and control the narrative, he is not just preparing for 2027. He is shaping the political battlefield itself. But history has always taught us that no strategy is ever perfect. The opposition may be down, but it's not out. The scars of betrayal, the hunger of redemption, and the unpredictable hand of the people can redraw the map overnight. The question is not only whether Ruto can silence or outsmart his rivals, but whether he can silence the will of a restless nation. And in that answer lies the future of Kenya's democracy and informed decision-making of Kenyan voters. You're watching No Lie with Owen.